Hello listeners and welcome to this week's recording of Boomerang. The Team 6 is here and is made up of our readers Margaret, Jessica, Marcy and Peter. Our engineer is Gordon. And Margaret, on her own because Heather's on holiday, will be doing the copying and distribution. The news this week is taken with permission from the West Lothian Courier dated the 19th of June. And we start off with the front page, which unfortunately is quite tragic. Police arrest man after death of Ellie in horrific car and HGV road smash. 17-year-old dies at the scene. This is an article by Ross Thompson. A man has been arrested following a fatal crash between a car and a lorry that killed a teenage girl in Bathgate. Emergency crews raced to the scene on the Boghall roundabout after the horror smash involving a Volkswagen Polo and an HGV on Monday, June the 9th at round about 11:50pm. Tragically, a 17-year-old female passenger was pronounced dead at the scene. She was later named locally as Ellie Douglas. An 18-year-old female passenger was also taken to the Royal Infirmary of Edinburgh for treatment. Police have confirmed they have arrested a 20-year-old man who has now been released pending further inquiries. The circumstances surrounding the incident have been referred to the police watchdog. Tributes poured in for Ellie, who was described as a beautiful soul. A GoFundMe page was set up to help the family with funeral costs. The page creator states, Ellie was a beautiful soul who lit up every room with her humour and warmth. She was a wee gem at our quiz nights and always brought joy to those around her. She had just completed her level 5 in hairdressing and was full of excitement to begin her career. The creator goes on, anyone who knew Ellie or the family will be deeply affected by this tragic loss. I know times are tough for many, but if you are able, please consider donating whatever you can. Your support will help give Ellie the farewell she deserves and provide some much-needed relief for the family during this incredibly difficult period. It has been confirmed that Police Scotland has referred itself to the Police Investigations and Review Commissioner over the incident. However, the reasons for this have not been disclosed. A spokesperson said a 20-year-old man has been arrested following a fatal crash in Bathgate. The incident happened around 1:50pm on Monday, June the 9th, on the Boghall roundabout and involved a Volkswagen Polo and an HGV. Emergency services attended and a 17-year-old female was pronounced dead at the scene. An 18-year-old female passenger was taken to the Royal Infirmary of Edinburgh for treatment. The 20-year-old man has been released pending further inquiries. And the spokesman pointed out the circumstances surrounding the incident have been referred to the Police Investigations and Review Commissioners. If you would like to donate to the GoFundMe page, which has already raised over £6,000, visit www.gofundme.com/f/funeral. And there's a photo of Ellie Douglas. And over to Jessica.
Police can help for kids during summer holidays. This is an article by Chief Inspector Elaine MacArthur Kerr. It's hard to believe that we are only a few short weeks away from the schools breaking up for the summer holidays. With that in mind, your local policing teams throughout West Lothian continue to work alongside key partners in regard to how we can keep young people safe throughout the summer and beyond. We continue to support West Lothian Community Foundation on Friday evenings with the Friday night football sessions, providing young people with a place to be on a Friday night. These are free football sessions which run between 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock for teenagers aged between 13 to 16. As of last week, sessions will be held on the external pitch next to the home of the Set Fair Arena. With this change, the pitches are bigger and in turn the teams can be bigger. The games will now be a 7-a-side format. Anyone within the age range is welcome to turn up with friends or on your own, and we hope to see as many of you there as possible. Our work alongside colleagues in social care, education and the Scottish Violence Reduction Unit also continues as part of Project SOL, and we aim to provide more information on this in due course, where we can demonstrate the inroads being made to promote positive lifestyle choices among West Lothian's young people and divert those at risk away from involvement in criminal activity. We're now fast approaching the time of year when we start to see our various gala days and community celebrations kicking off, and I want to reassure the communities of West Lothian that we will have appropriate resources deployed to each of these events to ensure they pass off safely. Finishing touches are being put into our policing responses, and we're working closely with all key partners as part of this process. The safety of all of those attending or participating is our number one priority. After an outstanding playoff victory against Ross County, Livingston FC have secured promotion back to the Scottish Premiership, so that means we can expect busier weekends within Livingston Town Centre whenever the team are playing at home. We are currently working alongside the club in respect of this, as well as the policing resource required for whenever SPFL Premiership teams, including the Glasgow and Edinburgh clubs, visit Almond Vale. Tackling shoplifting is a focus for policing teams across West Lothian, and readers may recall that earlier this year, Police Scotland launched its Retail Crime Task Force following a £3 million funding allocation from Scottish Government. The aim of the task force is to support local policing divisions in addressing retail offences arising. We have asked for funding from the task force to allow for dedicated resources to be utilised during a period of intensification, working with partners and engaging with local retailers throughout the region. Meantime, a 27-year-old male has been charged for 20 retail crimes and he has been remanded in custody. I am grateful to the task force for their support and positive enforcement, such as this demonstrates the local and national commitments of Police Scotland to tackle this matter. And over to Marcy.
Harry's Ben Nevis climb with incurable cancer and broken back by Michael Pringle. A West Lothian councillor who climbed Ben Nevis with a broken back later discovered he had incurable blood cancer. In 2019, just weeks after climbing Scotland's highest mountain for the fourth time, Harry Cartmill was diagnosed with myeloma. The Bathgate councillor, who was 53 at the time, is raising awareness of the condition in the run-up to Myeloma Awareness Week, June the 16th to the 22nd, to ensure that more patients are diagnosed before it's too late. Despite being the third most common type of blood cancer, myeloma is frequently missed, as its symptoms including back pain, easily broken bones, fatigue and recurring infection, and vague and often linked to general ageing or minor conditions. Harry said, "I've had 2 stem cell transplants and there have been hard times, but I'm still here 6 years later. Not only still here, but still living a full and life to the full. If something doesn't feel right, mention it, get it checked. Less than 2 months before being diagnosed with I climbed Ben Nevis. I was an amateur athlete, so having a bit of pain didn't stop me, but my back was bothering me when I did it. I was really struggling on the way down. I used to walk up Ben Nevis like it didn't exist, and I thought, it must be old age kicking in. Of course, it was nothing to do with that." Harry had climbed Scotland's highest peak with 2 broken vertebrae and had lost 2 inches in height as a result. Myeloma occurs in the bone marrow and currently affects over 33,000 people in the UK and more than 2,300 people in Scotland. Harry is backing Myeloma UK's Know the Warning Signs campaign, in which people with myeloma are featured with yellow warning signs painted on the area of their body where their symptoms first started. Myeloma UK has also released a symptom translator to help conversations with GPs and make sure no patient falls through the net. Initially, Harry put his sore back down to wear and tear from years of playing golf and mountain climbing. Prescribed painkillers, he realises the shooting pain was unlike any he'd felt before and was in a different part of his back, which should have raised the alarm with his GP. He said,
I'd had great health my whole life. When you push yourself climbing mountains or cycling 100 miles and running half marathons, you're used to a bit of pain. I went to the doctor and he told me to take it easy, cut back on the golf, take painkillers. He said I was getting a bit older, but the pain progressively got worse. I think there needs to be an awareness there for some GPs. Not everybody with a pain in their spine has been overdoing it in the garden or playing too much golf. The last week and a half before I was diagnosed, I was really struggling. I knew something was wrong. I knew it wasn't just Father Time catching up on me, but I never thought it could be myeloma. Another GP at his practice realised something was wrong and sent Harry for an X-ray, which showed he had 2 broken vertebrae. He was quickly diagnosed with myeloma.
Festival director Christopher McPhillips said, "Every nominated charity had something meaningful to offer West Lothian." And
Harry continued, "When they saw broken bones, they asked me if I'd had some kind of trauma, if I'd fallen off my bike. So that rang alarm bells. A day or 2 later, they drilled into my hip, and that's when the diagnosis of myeloma came. I used to be almost 6 foot, and now I'm just 5'9". My spine is not as straight as it once was." Harry started chemotherapy and later received a stem cell transplant. The treatment was incredibly hard. Harry admits, "I was a skeleton who could barely walk up the stairs." Unfortunately, Harry's cancer returned after just 18 months and he underwent chemotherapy again, followed by a second stem cell transplant. 2 years on, he is still in remission and determined to live a full life. He attended his daughter's wedding in May and last year celebrated a year in remission and his dog's 12th birthday by climbing Tinto Hill. When you get a second chance or a third chance, as I was given, you have to make the best of every day with your family, your friends and your pets, said Harry. I'm 60 at the start of next year and that would be a great milestone to reach. And I'm hoping that I can, because when I was diagnosed, I didn't think I would get to that. I'm lucky to be alive. Dr. Sophie Castell, Chief Executive at blood cancer charity Myeloma UK, said, "We know that myeloma can be difficult to diagnose, so bring the Myeloma UK symptom translator with you to the GP, ask for answers and get to the bottom of what's causing your pain, infections or fatigue. For more information about myeloma or to download the symptoms translator, visit myeloma.org.uk/signs. Myeloma UK also run an info line called Call 0800 980 3332. And over to Peter.
Filmfest seals deal with first charity partner, an article by Michael Pringle. Pardon me. West Lothian Film Festival has confirmed that its first official charity partner is Breast Friends and Family. The announcement follows more than 5 months of public voting and 2,164 individual ballots cast, and the partnership will run for the next 3 years. Nominations opened in October last year, and the public were invited to nominate and vote via social media for local causes they felt deserved recognition and support. There were 30 organisations in the running, with Breast Friends and Family emerging as the winner after securing more than 700 public votes. Breast Friends and Family aims to support patients through a breast cancer diagnosis, treatment and recovery. Based in Glasgow Road in Bathgate, they provide practical, emotional and peer support for breast cancer patients across West Lothian. From its office, affectionately known as The Heart, the charity distributes treatment support bags, runs well-being sessions and offers a vital sense of solidarity to those facing diagnosis, treatment and recovery. West Lothian Film Festival has attracted 306 films, an unprecedented increase from last year's 82 submissions. All submissions are currently in the hands of the 20-strong volunteer judging panel. Can I just stop for a second? West Lothian Film Festival has attracted 306 films, an unprecedented increase from last year's 82 submissions. All submissions are currently in the hands of the 20-strong volunteer judging panel. Festival director Christopher McPhillips said, "Every nominated charity had something meaningful to offer West Lothian, and we are grateful to have celebrated them all over the past 5 months. With 747 votes, Breast Friends and Family clearly resonated with their community, representing compassion, strength and unity. The people of West Lothian chose them as their charity of choice, and we are proud to use our platform to support and celebrate the incredible work they do. While it's been an honour to spotlight 30 brilliant organisations, we are equally proud to now walk alongside Breast Friends and Family as our official partner for the next 3 years. As part of the 3-year charity partnership, the festival has committed to full marketing and promotional support, volunteer days from the festival team, and a dedicated Breast Friends and Family Showcase Day at each edition of the festival from 2026 to 2028. Hazel Orr of Breast Friends and Family said, "We were delighted to be nominated. The 30 nominated charities are all worthy charities and community groups, so we knew we faced some strong competition. On first meeting Christopher, we realised that this could be a fantastic opportunity for Breast Friends and Family, with so many ways he could help promote our charity through the film festival, as well as his business associates and connections. It made us think about how we connect with our followers through social media, through our own Facebook and Instagram platforms, and how we could encourage our followers to like, vote and share posts. We grabbed the opportunity offered by the film festival and Condor Entertainment to go along on one of the media days to record an interview about how the charity came about and what it provides. We loved sharing the finished result, and we took advantage of the leaflets and posters provided by Artos Digital and Clear Colour, not just taking them to our events, but sharing with work colleagues, neighbours, family and friends at every opportunity. Thank you, Christopher, and the West Lothian Film Festival for this fabulous opportunity. Thank you to the 2,000 plus people who voted, and to those who voted for Breast Friends and Family. For more information on the festival, visit www.westlothianfilmfestival.scot. There's also an online fundraiser being set up by the film festival for Breast Friends and Family, and you can find them at www.justgiving.com/page/West Lothian FF. And alongside the article, there is a picture of a number of people involved in this initiative. And back to Margaret.
And that takes us to the end of part 1. Welcome back to part 2, which would normally include family announcements and intimations, but there's nothing in the newspaper today, so it will be general news. Prisoner is seriously hurt in inmate attack. That's an article by Chris Gourley. 2 inmates at West Lothian Prison teamed up to launch a brutal attack on another prisoner who was left with serious injuries. Daniel Brown, 25, and Jed Duncan, 29, targeted Alan MacDonald at HMP Addiewell in West Lothian on September the 29th, 2023. The pair repeatedly kicked and stamped on him, as well as stabbing him several times with a homemade weapon. They appeared at the High Court in Edinburgh to be sentenced over the frenzied attack. Both were convicted of assault to severe injury, permanent disfigurement, permanent impairment and danger to life. Edinburgh Live reports both were aggressive towards a prison officer afterwards, approaching him while Duncan was still holding the blade, resulting in a further conviction of threatening or abusive behaviour for both of them. Duncan was also convicted of possessing a blade article and defeating the ends of justice by attempting to dispose of the weapon. The duo seized MacDonald and pulled him by his hair before repeatedly launching kicks at his head and body. They then dragged him to the floor and stamped on his head several times before stabbing him in the head and neck with the homemade weapon. Brown received a 6-year prison sentence, with the court ordering the term to run consecutively to the time he is already serving. He also received a non-harassment order for an indefinite period. And there's a photograph of the prison. And over to Jessica.
Volunteers are hailed for their work at charity. An article by Ross Thompson. Two dog-loving volunteers who have racked up a total of nearly 2 decades of dedicated devotion to Dogs Trust West Calder's handsome hounds are encouraging others to come and join the volunteer team. Having spent over 3,500 hours volunteering, Isabel Taggart and Kay Wallace are urging others this Volunteers Week to consider joining the Dogs Trust West Calder team. Isabel Taggart from Livingston has been a firm fixture at the Rehoming Centre since 2011, when she first joined the volunteer team as a dog walker. Isabel has always liked dogs, but as she worked full-time she didn't have a dog of her own, so volunteering allowed her to help dogs in need. When Isabel retired in 2017, everything changed as she adopted her first dog from Dogs Trust and continued to volunteer cleaning kennels. Isabel is so committed to the charity that both dogs she has rehomed from Dogs Trust, Jovi and Susie, had experienced very unsettled starts in life and were proving difficult to rehome until Isabel came to the rescue. Isabel said, "You can't take all the dogs home, but by volunteering you are making their lives better. By cleaning the kennels, the staff can spend more time with the dogs, which makes me happy. As I am now retired, I feel it's nice to still be making a contribution. I enjoy coming into the charity in the morning and seeing the dogs' faces. The longer-term dogs get to know us and respond in a positive way. I feel a real sense of achievement volunteering with Dogs Trust." Kay Wallace, also from Livingston, began volunteering for Dogs Trust in 2021 after losing her beloved dog Pepsi the year before. Despite working full-time as a treatment room nurse, Kay volunteers on Saturday and Sundays at the Rehoming Centre. Kay said, "When I lost my Labrador Pepsi, I decided not to get another dog as it's too heartbreaking when they die. So instead, I've been volunteering ever since. My role involves cleaning the kennels and ensuring the dogs have a comfy, clean bed, which I love doing, as no dog should have a scruffy bed. Volunteering gives me so much joy. As much as I enjoy my job as a nurse, coming to the centre on the weekend are the best 2 days of the week. Spending time with the beautiful dogs is wonderful, especially saying good morning to them and seeing their reaction when they get to know you. I feel very much like I am part of the team at West Calder, where everyone is so hardworking and friendly. I recommend volunteering to anyone with the time and love of dogs. Dogs Trust West Calder is currently seeking volunteers for different roles at the centre, including canine assistants, administrators and meet and greet volunteers. Although more than 60 people currently give their time to help at the centre, volunteer coordinator Gary Lee says they would love more to join. Gary said, "Our volunteers are amazing and go above and beyond for our dogs here at West Calder Rehoming Centre. They devote so much of their free time to us and are always willing to help whenever possible. Without them, giving the dogs everything they need would be much more difficult." Isabel has been a core member of our volunteer team for many years. When she retired, she moved closer to the centre and was then able to volunteer more often. She also helps other volunteers by giving them lifts to and from the centre. Kay is also a valued part of the team. She works extremely hard Monday to Friday as a nurse and yet spends her weekend mornings with us looking after our dogs. We really appreciate their hard work and dedication. Every volunteer makes a huge difference to what we can achieve at the centre, and we welcome more local dog lovers to come and join us. Volunteers must be aged 18 and over, and all are welcome. To find out more, please go to www.dogstrust.org.uk/support-us/volunteering/roles or contact Gary Lee, Volunteer Coordinator, at garylee@dogstrust.org.uk. And to accompany the article is a nice picture of Kay Wallace with the Dogs Volunteer Coordinator Gary Lee smiling and obviously enjoying what they do. And over to Marcy.
Upgrade to major routes. 2 major roads through Bathgate will see upgrades and resurfacing works this year, starting in the summer. Work starts during the school holidays on Mingy's Road, while Edinburgh Road will have cycle lanes introduced, in works scheduled to get underway by the turn of the year. Councillors on the town's local area committee also asked for more speed reduction measures in the town. Senior roads engineers attended the Bathgate committee after the chair, Councillor Harry Cartmill, complained about the poor state of main roads through the town. Graham Burton, design engineer manager, told the meeting that the aim is to have a contractor in place to resurface Mingies Road from the Mingies roundabout to North Bridge Street during the school holidays. The road passes St Mary's Primary and the Aldi supermarket. Design plans are expected to be in place for Edinburgh Road in the autumn. These will see installation of cycle lanes running from Gildyhawk roundabout to the King Street car park. This work will also include partial resurfacing, but the bulk of the costs, around $750,000, will be met from the Scottish Government's active travel funding. And over to Peter.
Stumpy is real world record breaker at 39, an article by Ross Thompson. Staff at a West Lothian zoo have celebrated a world record after an adorable lemur in their care made it into the Guinness Book of World Records. The ring-tailed lemur called Stumpy celebrated not only his 39th birthday but also recognition as the oldest living lemur in captivity. The mature primate, whose slightly shortened tail is what led to his name, is described as a firm favourite with staff and visitors alike. He was born in June 1986 in Surrey before moving to Scotland and has resided at Five Sisters since 2005. He currently lives there with two of his sons, Red, aged 21, and 20-year-old Julian, themselves both a respectable age for their kind. Five Sisters senior animal keeper Gemma Varley said, "He loves to sunbathe and eat fresh browse. His favourite is willow, and he loves sweet potato. Stumpy's birthday is a big event. He celebrates with his sons and enjoys a bit of birthday cake made from special primate pellet. While he does have some arthritis, he has been blessed with good health. He does need some extra care, such as daily medications for his arthritis, weekly weigh-ins, and his scent glands often overgrow, but he allows us to trim these voluntarily through positive reinforcement training." Over his lifetime, Stumpy has done his bit for lemur conservation and public engagement by siring a total of 11 offspring. His progeny have gone on to produce 25 grandchildren, 6 great-grandchildren, and 1 great-great-granddaughter. All 6 great-grandchildren now live in Attica Zoo in Greece. GWR's senior managing editor, Adam Millward, who worked with the zoo on the verification process, was delighted by the final result. He said, "Reaching such a grand age, we're living well over a decade beyond what is typical for your kind, is impressive for any species. With this record, there's now no question that Stumpy has truly earned his stripes. I hope he enjoyed his special day, and paws crossed. We hear from Five Sisters Zoos again for the big 4-0 next year." And alongside the article, there's a picture of Stumpy looking very pleased with himself and an award that's been given to him, although I don't think he fully understands that. And back to Margaret.
John is game for a laugh at Parley Building. There's an article by Michael Pringle. A Livingston schoolboy was one of 32 pupils from across the country who left MSPs chortling after cracking jokes at the Scottish Parliament. John McGlynn, a P3 pupil at St John Ogilvie RC Primary School, left him in fits of laughter as he represented West Lothian at the Voice Box Grand Final. The National Joke-Telling Competition is organised by the Royal College of Speech and Language Therapists, with a regional winner representing each local authority in the final. Every finalist performed their joke live before an audience of MSPs, families and supporters. The final followed a national-wide call for entries that saw thousands of jokes submitted by pupils from hundreds of primary schools. Ezra Pasiful, who's in P3 at Oakbank Primary School in Perth, was crowned Scotland's funniest young comedian after leaving MSPs in stitches. The winning joke, delivered with confidence and impeccable timing, was, "I bought 10 bees, but the beekeeper..." Right, I'll start that joke again. I knew I would do that. I just knew it. Okay. "I bought 10 bees, but the beekeeper gave me 11 bees. I asked him why there's an extra bee, and he said, because that one's a freebie. The final was hosted by the presiding officer, Alison Johnson, MSP, and compared by BBC journalist and comedian Zara Yanuyu, who returned for her second year with competition. The presiding officer said, "It was a pleasure to welcome so many young people from across Scotland to their parliament. Following a strong nationwide competition, I want to congratulate all our finalists. The effort, imagination and thought that went into their contributions was extremely impressive. I'm pleased that once again the Parliament was able to support such a worthwhile competition. Voice Box was created by the Royal College to spotlight the importance of early speech, language and communication development and the power of speech and language therapy. While rooted in fun, the competition's purpose is to raise awareness of the vital role communications plays in a child's confidence, learning and life outcomes." Glenn Carter, head of the Royal College Scotland, said, "While the event is full of joy and laughter, its purpose is serious. Speech, language and communications are essential skills that underpin a child's learning, relationships and long-term opportunities. VoiceBox shines a light on this by showing just what children can achieve when they're supported to express themselves. The 2025 final marks the second year VoiceBox has been held at the Scottish Parliament. Following its January launch on Blue Monday, a date chosen to brighten the calendar and kick off joke competitions in classrooms nationwide. Each of the 32 finalists received £100 worth of books from sponsors Collins Big Cat, the UK's leading whole school primary reading programme. And there's a photograph of John at the Parliament and the MSPs and family all having a good laugh. And over to Jessica.
And now to a sad article. Couple found dead while on camping trip. This is by Ryan Carroll. A West Lothian couple found dead in their tent passed away from carbon monoxide poisoning and may have lay undiscovered for a week. Adele Tate, 47, and her partner Craig Will, 55, died while camping together on the shores of Loch Awe near Dalmally in Argyll. It's understood the pair headed for a wild camping trip on May the 30th, but they had not been in contact with loved ones since May the 31st. An urgent appeal was launched on social media after the couple who lived together in a cottage in the village of Longridge were reported missing. Frantic loved ones tried to contact the pair, but their messages went unanswered and phone calls rang out. The couple planned to travel home on Thursday, June the 5th, and family said it was very out of character for Craig not to contact his son. Police made the grim discovery some 7 days after last contact was made at around 4:25 p.m. on Saturday, June the 7th. The deaths are not being treated as suspicious by police. It is understood the couple died from carbon monoxide poisoning. Tributes have been paid to Adele and Craig. Craig served time in the Gordon Highlanders Regiment in the British Army, as well as the 1st Battalion of the Royal Regiment of Scotland. George McLaren wrote, "It is with great sadness that I post this. My true friends, Craig Will and Adele Tate, have passed away. They were on a camping trip in their favourite place, the shores of Loch Awe. They passed peacefully in their sleep. The police have said it was carbon monoxide poisoning. I will miss them both more than they will ever know. My deepest heartfelt condolences go out to both families." Craig was in the Gordon Highlanders and the 1st Scotch, so if any of my brothers knew him, I would be grateful if you could pass this message on. May you both rest in peace. I loved you both and will miss you. Craig's heartbroken daughter, Hannah Louise Boyd, added, "I'm normally good with words, but I'm still in disbelief. My family are heartbroken, to say the least. We can see how much Craig and Adele were loved and how many people idolised and respected our dad. Till we meet again, Algin, I love you always." Craig's mum, Sandra, added, "Craig and Adele, you were our favourite hello and our hardest goodbye. In remembrance of your strength and resilience, your love for one another remains our greatest treasure. Our son had an incredible impact in his short time here. Though we part ways with tears in our hearts, you'll forever stay. Rest in peace, dear Craig and Adele, till we meet again." Adele's devastated mother Anne, meanwhile, posted a heartbreaking tribute on social media. Sharing a picture of the pair on Facebook, she wrote, "I'm devastated to be writing this. My eldest daughter Adele and her partner Craig have sadly passed away. The family are heartbroken at this time. You are my firstborn, the one who made me a mum. I'm in pieces. Another part of my heart is in heaven." One friend posted photos of her on country walks with Adele. She said, "Thank you for always being an amazing friend, always honest and caring." A Police Scotland spokesperson said around 4:25 p.m. on Saturday, June the 7th, 2025, a 55-year-old man and 47-year-old woman were found deceased within a tent on the east side of Loch Dalmally, Argyll and Bute. Their deaths are not being treated as suspicious. A report was submitted to the Procurator Fiscal. And to accompany the article, there's a really nice photo of the tragic couple, Adele and Craig, and he is proudly showing the medals that he was awarded while in the army. And over to Marcy.
Hard work of carers honoured. Carers of West Lothian marked Volunteers Week with a warm gathering to celebrate the incredible contributions of its dedicated volunteers. The event in Livingston brought together volunteers, staff, trustees and ambassadors to recognise the vital role volunteers play in supporting unpaid carers and disabled people across West Lothian. From gardening and reflexology to peer support, counselling and helping at information stalls, volunteers are at the heart of everything Carers of West Lothian, COWL, does. Long-time volunteer Nancy Baker received the Dedication and Commitment Award at the first ever West Lothian Volunteer Awards ceremony hosted by Volunteer Gateway West Lothian. Nancy received the award, which honours long service, high volunteering hours and consistent dedication from Alison Kennedy, Depute to the Lord Lieutenant of West Lothian. "We are so proud of Nancy," said Volunteer Coordinator Pat Henderson. "She truly embodies the spirit of volunteering. These volunteers do so much to support our service users and give freely of their time and expertise. It's lovely to get the chance to celebrate with them." Volunteers shared stories of their experiences, with many expressing how rewarding it is to give back to the community. The celebration included refreshments and the time to connect and reflect. Volunteers also took part in a quiz on their phones, and there was much laughter and happy chattering as they celebrated the Carers of West Lothian Volunteering Community. Mike Niles, CEO of Carers of West Lothian, said, "We have over 40 volunteers giving their energy, compassion and commitment and making a real difference every day. More information on Carers of West Lothian and their services available at https://cowl.org.uk/. And over to Peter.
Concerns over plans blueprint, an article by Stuart Somerville. Concern has been raised over the amount of time West Lothian councillors have been given to consider a 10-year planning blueprint for the area. Councillors may have just over a month before they are asked to agree to a 1,000 plus pages draft of evidence to submit to the Scottish Government for a new local development plan. The plan is a guide to what happens in the county between 2028 and 2038 and covers housing development, infrastructure, transport and communities. But the initial hefty document brought more questions and criticism than answers this week. Linlithgow's Lib Dem councillor Sally Pattle told a meeting of the Economy, Community Empowerment and Wealth Building PDSP that she had serious concerns that councillors would have enough time to get this right. The document, 1,059 pages long, is a combined 2 years of evidence gathered which has to be presented to the Division of Planning and Environmental Appeals, DPEA, to be gate-checked as the foundation of the next local development plan. This broad brush approach to evidence gathering threw up anomalies and outdated information which the SNP's Andrew Miller highlighted, including one suggestion that 3 buses served Livingston Village when in fact none do. Only halfway through the meeting, the councillors found out that council officers had based their ward evidence on community council boundaries, which threw up anomalies such as bus services. Councillors also picked over the lack of details in individual sections of the report, demanding more detail be included before a final draft goes to a meeting of the full council and then on to the DPEA. Councillor Susan Mannion stressed on several occasions that this was the first draft of the document and was open to change and improvement. All councillors moved to praise officers for the amount of work that has gone into the first draft. Councillor Patel said, "I am now seriously concerned as I have sat here for the past 90 minutes. It's been revealed that we are supposed to go to full council to agree this, and that it's 5 weeks' time. I was under the impression that when it went to full council it would be after recess in September, giving us months to prepare for this." Addressing the ranks of planning officers seated in the Livingston Chamber, Councillor Patel continued, "I appreciate your time today, and I am sorry that we have come across as hyper-local, but that's our job. We are here to scrutinise on behalf of our wards to make sure this incredibly important document is right when it goes to the gate check. I am now extremely concerned that we are not going to be given adequate opportunities to do that." And she warned, developers are going to be watching us like hawks. They are going to be using this as a basis for development for the next 10 years. We have to get this right. I would like some reassurance that we are going to be given enough time to do that. Fellow Linlithgow councillor Pauline Orr said, "It's a huge piece of work and we are the face of our communities, so we absolutely have to get it right." She praised the amazing work of the officers in producing the 1,059 pages of evidence. Director of Planning Craig McCorriston moved to reassure the meeting that he was happy to meet councillors and take additional information from them to correct inaccuracies. He said that the draft evidence had to be ready to present to the DPEA by May 2028. The process is defined by government legislation, but he conceded that the time frame for the council to prepare the draft was tight and we do have to work at speed. He added, "We have opened up to scrutiny in a way which we hope is helpful to members and will engage further in the coming week to go through matters of concern or errors." Alongside the article, there's a picture of the councillor, Sally Patel. And back to Margaret.
Primary kids enjoy trip to Westminster. Pupils from a West Lothian primary school travelled to London on an educational visit to Westminster. The young people from P7 at Livingston Village Primary met with their constituency MP Gregor Poynton when they visited the UK Parliament buildings. The visit was organised by Leslie Fraser, Principal Teacher at Livingston Village Primary, through the UK Parliament's Education and Engagement Team. It gave the P7 pupils the opportunity to learn more about democracy, politics and the work of MPs. Gregor Poynton MP spoke with the pupils about his work representing the Livingston constituency in Westminster. During a Q&A session in Westminster Hall, he answered questions about how Parliament functions and how decisions are made. Mr Poynton said it was a pleasure to meet with the pupils and staff from Livingston Village Primary School and hear their thoughts on politics, democracy and issues that matter to them. Visits like these are a brilliant way to bring Parliament to life for young people, helping them understand how our democracy works and inspiring them to get involved in their communities. And there's a photo alongside all the pupils, and I take it is outside Parliament. They're sitting on steps and Gregor Poynton's in the middle of them. They all look, some of them look quite happy and some of them look bored. But over to Jessica.
Okay.
Pubs claim victory to allow drink outdoors. 2 popular Livingston pubs have won extensions to their licence to allow outdoor drinking. The agreement of West Lothian Licensing Board will formalise outdoor drinking at one of the oldest pubs dating back to the 1760s, as well as one from the development of Livingston as a new town in the 1960s. An agent for the Livingston Inn in Livingston Village's Main Street told the board that the inn was said to have been visited by a certain Rabbie Burns. The pub currently has outdoor tables front and back. The pub applied for licence variation to formalise occasional licences to use a grassed area behind the pub as a beer garden. Police had no objections and the licence was granted with the usual conditions, including limits on outdoor music and no serving beyond 9 p.m. The Tower Bar in Craigs Hill was built in 1968. It has recently developed as a popular community hub supporting the people of Craigs Hill since the COVID lockdown. The owners, Fiona MacLeod and Frank McAllister, applied for variations to the existing licence and an extension to beer garden licence with a permit to use outside space until 11 p.m. An agent said the application was largely a tidy-up of the existing licence. The tower has recently undergone renovation and provides a popular restaurant as well as a community space. However, Police Scotland objected to a beer garden licence extending until 11 p.m, fearing noise disturbance for neighbours and the potential for alcohol-related disruption. A police licensing sergeant insisted the force considered the premises to be well run and an asset to the community. After going into private session, councillors proposed that the variations be allowed on the conditions that standard conditions on outdoor space be applied, including the 9 p.m. finish to serving in the beer garden and an additional conditions governing the use of amplified music or live performance beyond 7 p.m. This was accepted by the agent and owners.
And that brings us to the end of part 2. Welcome back to part 3, which includes the quiz. Remember to listen in at start of part 4 for the answers to the quiz. So there's 6 questions. Question 1. In which month is St Andrew's Day celebrated? A. March, B. January, C. November. Question 2. Mouth organ is another name for which instrument? A. Harmonica, B. Kazoo, C. Flute. Question 3. What type of bird is a parakeet? A. Eagle, B. Parrot, C. Owl. Question 4. The red planet is an informal name for which celestial body? A. Mars, B. Venus, C. Mercury. Question 5. Who was Europe's winning captain in golf's 2014 Ryder Cup? A. Nick Faldo, B. Colin Montgomerie, C. Paul McGinley. And question 6. How many pairs of legs does a spider have? A. 4, B. 2, C3. And we'll continue with general news. And over to Marcy.
Residents hailed on honours list by Ross Thompson. West Lothian residents have been honoured in the King's Birthday Honours List. Professor Roland Keogh from Turfickan was awarded the CBE for services to mathematics and infectious disease dynamics. Mr. Keogh is Professor of Veterinary Epidemiology, Data Science at the University of Edinburgh. He has worked at the Roslin Institute since 2017. He also serves as Chair of the UK Government Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, DEFRA, Science Advisory Council, and took up this role in 2025, having served as a member of the SAC from 2018 to 2024. He said, "I am honoured to be chosen for this award and I'm especially pleased to see this recognition for animal science research. This underscores the importance of research in infectious animal diseases and recognises its contribution to public health through the wider efforts of many research and collaborators. I am continually thankful for the hard work, skills and creativity that colleagues and collaborators bring to everything I do, and I'm indebted to them for making it a pleasure." Bathgate-based Victoria Dunnett has received an MBE for services to vulnerable people in West Lothian. Mrs Dunnett is the chair of the board of directors of the Bog Hall Drop-In Centre. Also receiving an MBE is Malcolm Kirby from Uphall. Mr Kirby is a volunteer at Red Dot Radio and received his gong for services to hospitals in Edinburgh. Police Scotland's Chief Human Resources, Nikki Page from Bathgate, receives an MBE for her services to policing, equality and health. Nikki joined Strathclyde Police in 2010 and has provided strategic human resources leadership for over 22,000 people in Police Scotland. This included playing a key role during the transition period that brought together 8 legacy forces to form Police Scotland. She delivered a single national HR function, achieving public sector savings of around 200 million annually since 2013. Since 2017, Nikki has also volunteered as a community first responder with the Scottish Ambulance Service, contributing over 1,000 hours of service while balancing the demands of her role and family life. Nikki said, "I am both grateful and surprised to receive this honour. I'm deeply appreciative of the support I have received from my colleagues in policing, the ambulance service and fellow responders within the Bathgate Group. This honour reflects the shared commitment and teamwork that have made my contribution possible." Community stalwart Margaret Graham, the chair of Broxburn Family Centre, has been honoured with a British Empire Medal, BEM. Margaret, a well-known community activist in West Lothian for many years, received the award for her services to the community in Broxburn. Finally, school crossing patroller Shirley Jameson from West Calder received a BEM for services to the safety of pedestrians in Juniper Green, Edinburgh. West Lothian Provost Cathy Muldoon was thrilled for all of those who were honoured. She said, "Congratulations to all the recipients. It is wonderful to see individuals from such a diverse range of services being honoured and recognised. What a great honour and richly deserved." The Secretary of State for Scotland, Ian Murray, added, "Communities across Scotland benefit from the extraordinary effort of those honoured." The honours list showcases the remarkable achievements of individuals across Scotland who have gone above and beyond in their respective fields. Their service to our communities represents the spirit of dedication and excellence that makes Scotland proud. And over to Peter.
Electrical firms' record turnover. A West Lothian electrical firm has posted a record turnover for the 3rd year running, following a series of significant contract wins. John Heaney Electrical Limited's latest set of financial results to the year-end December 2024 showed an increased revenue of 11.5 million, up 51% on the previous 12 months, which was 7.6 million. A strong performance across all departments saw the company mark its 35th year in operation as a limited company, with a rise in profits to nearly £1 million, sitting at 977,000, an increase of 79% on last year. The firm's core electrical division saw 6.6 million of revenue, while facilities management grew from 1.5 million to 2.4 million. Cash in bank broke the £1 million threshold at 1.9 million, up 305% from the previous £470,000. Welcoming the figures, JHE Managing Director Mark Heaney said, 12 months ago we didn't expect revenues to reach the levels they did, and a lot of hard work has gone in by a lot of people to get us into this position. Profit margins were also decent, and that allowed us to have a positive increase in cash in the bank at year end. We have worked hard to create this solid foundation, and the future is looking positive for the company going forward as we look to grow strategically, with a particular focus on new long-term contracts and building partnerships with major retail companies and blue-chip firms. Our order book is looking healthy, and there are a number of exciting projects in the pipeline as we look to build on existing relationships. Staffing levels remain constant at the 60 mark. The company keen to continue investing in its employees. Our priority is to develop our own staff where possible, and we will always look at upskilling our current workforce if that is something they express an interest in, said Mr. Heaney, who has been Managing Director since 2016. We have a lot of staff who have been here for a long time, and that reflects well on us as a business. Back to Margaret.
Veterans worry over land plan. An article by Ross Thompson. Almond Valley MSP Angela Constance met with the residents of a West Lothian Veterans Centre following a charity's decision to sell off land and demolish a number of existing properties. The MSP met with Linburn Park residents to hear directly from them following the decision from Site Scotland regarding the future of their homes. Earlier this month, the charity confirmed its intention to sell land for a potential housing development close to its Lynburn Veterans Centre near Kirtlisson. The sale would mean that a small number of existing properties on the site would need to be demolished. Due to the age and condition of these properties, some of them are currently lying vacant. The rest are occupied by a mixture of tenants, some of whom are visually impaired, veterans and others who are private tenants. Tenants were notified of the charity's intention to sell the land, meaning they may need to vacate their properties in 12 months' time. Joined by local councillor Carol John, the MSP spent time listening to each resident, many of whom are veterans or family members of veterans, and all of whom spoke about the peace, stability and strong sense of community they have found at Lynburn Park. The SNP MSP confirmed she will meet with the Chief Executive of Site Scotland next week. She said, "What the residents of Lynburn Park are experiencing is deeply upsetting. These are people who have served their country or supported loved ones who have, and they deserve respect, not distress. I was grateful to meet with them in person before speaking with Site Scotland. I will be raising their concerns directly with the Chief Executive and exploring whether more compassionate long-term solutions can be found that protect both the homes and the community here at Lynburn Park. I've also been in contact with the Scottish Government's Veterans Minister to ensure that this is on his radar, even though Site Scotland operates independently. I will continue to support the residents and push for greater transparency and fairness in how they are treated. Site Scotland state the proposed sale will help safeguard the charity's long-term future, enabling it to continue supporting visually impaired veterans across Scotland for many years to come. The Lynburn Veterans Centre and Centenary Hall will not be affected, and support services to veterans with sight loss will continue to be offered. Craig Spalding, Site Scotland Veterans Chief Executive, said, "Site Scotland Veterans is committed to supporting veterans living with sight loss throughout Scotland. Our services are designed to help individuals regain and maintain their independence, enhance their well-being and improve their overall quality of life. As part of our new organisational strategy, we are taking the necessary steps to ensure the long-term financial sustainability of the charity. This includes carefully reviewing our resources and making difficult decisions where necessary to preserve the essential services we provide. Site Scotland Veterans does incredible work across the country, and the proceeds from this sale will be strategically reinvested to deliver long-term financial returns. This will enable us to continue providing life-changing support at our Lynburn Centre, as well as preserving and strengthening the essential services we provide across the country." Site Scotland veterans say it fully recognises the impact this decision may have on their small number of existing tenants on the site. As such, the charity is extending the standard 1-month notice period to 1 year, offering affected tenants additional time and support to find alternative accommodation. And there's a photograph that comes along with the article, and it's residents of Lynburn Park alongside Angela Constance. And over to Jessica.
Positive response to Selms project by Michael Pringle. Livingston's MP received a positive response from the Minister of State for Industry to a letter he sent backing the Selms-Muir hydrogen project. The project was one of 87 applications to the UK Government for selection in the second hydrogen allocation round, HAR2. From those, only 27 projects across the UK are shortlisted. Gregor Poynton MP received a response from Industry Minister Sarah Jones MP at the Department for Energy Security and Net Zero, thanking him for writing in support of the Livingston project and confirming continued engagement during the next stage of the HAR2 process. The Minister outlined that HAR2 is a highly competitive round with 87 initial applications competing for support, of which only 27 projects across England, Scotland and Wales have been shortlisted. The selection process has focused on project deliverability, portfolio diversity and value for money factors, with particular consideration given to cost, scale, location and supply to hard-to-abate sectors. The Selmsmuir Hydrogen Project, a partnership between hydrogen developer Hygen and renewable energy leader European Energy, will deliver a 20-megawatt electrolyser hub located with the Selmsmuir solar farm. The project has the potential to power buses, construction equipment and heavy vehicles across West Lothian, supporting the UK's ambitious goal of 10 gigawatts of low-carbon hydrogen production by 2030. Gregor Poynton MP said, "I'm pleased to receive this positive response from Minister Sarah Jones MP regarding the Selmsmuir Hydrogen Project. While the competition is fierce, with 87 applications for just 27 shortlisted projects, I'm continuing to make the case to ministers for this tremendous local project. The Selmsmuir project represents exactly the kind of innovative green technology investment that West Lothian needs. With its potential to produce 6 tonnes of low-carbon hydrogen daily and support decarbonisation across West Lothian's transport and industry sectors, this project could bring significant jobs and investment to our constituency. I welcome the Government's recognition of hydrogen's key role in delivering our clean energy superpower mission and net zero commitments. I'll continue advocating strongly for Selmsmuir throughout the process, as I believe this project demonstrates the deliverability, value for money and strategic importance that the Government is looking for." Over to Marcy.
Bid to shut down illegal vapes by Ross Thompson. West Lothian residents are being urged to help shut down supplies of illegal vapes across the region. The Scottish Grocers Federation, SGF, has issued a plea for people who use vaping products not to buy from illicit sellers. And the Convenience Store Trade Body, which represents retailers in the region, is urging people to share details of those who they suspect are selling goods illegally to pass on concerns to trading standards, police or anonymously via Crime Stoppers. Single-use vapes became outlawed across the United Kingdom on June the 1st. All stock needed to be immediately removed from shop shelves. SGF President Graham Watson, himself a community convenience store owner, said, "As an organisation, we have sufficient concerns that an unintended consequence of a ban will be an increase in the illegal sale of vaping products. It is harmful in so many ways for illegal and unregulated products to be circulating. Our members work incredibly hard to champion responsible community retailing within the law. Illicit supplies undermine the great work they do. With all of that in mind, we are asking people not to buy from illicit sellers and to share any information they have with those responsible for them to the authorities. If they do not have the information, they cannot act against them. SGF has issued a special guide to advise its members how to stay on the right side of the new law. It also encourages members to follow Challenge 25 policies to avoid the risk of illegal sales. Information about illicit trade can be passed to Police Scotland by calling 101. Details can be shared with Crime Stoppers on 0800 555 111. Calls are free and your anonymity will be maintained. And over to Peter.
Climate Group nets £170,000 cash. West Lothian Climate Action Network received funding of £170,985 to support local grassroots climate projects this year. The organisation is aiming to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, promote renewable energy and educate the public about climate change. Projects range from community growing initiatives and local energy solutions to flood prevention and repair workshops. The investment, which is part of the Scottish Government's commitment to tackling the climate emergency through community-led action, is being used by WLCN to fund new projects this year or develop ongoing ones. Among the projects to benefit are Artlink Boghall, who are developing a community garden at Boghall and Bathgate. Gardening and cooking projects support the aim of growing more food in the community. WLCN funds are also helping Broxburn and Uphill growers to trial the use of electroculture in vegetable beds at Strathbrock Community Garden. They hope to use the science to increase yields. Ruth Plevin and Gordon Leckie from River Almond Action Group also receive funding to distribute water butts, allowing residents to divert rainwater, which relieves pressure on the drainage system and helps combat flooding after heavy rainfall. Donald Stavert, Treasurer and Director at the company, said, "We are delighted to have been awarded funding for another year of community climate action in West Lothian. We will be in every area of the district this year, talking to the community and working actively with all our 80 member organisations on their development. It's very exciting times." Angela Constance, MSP for Almond Valley, welcomed the funding boost, saying, "This £170,000 985 investment is fantastic news for West Lothian and a huge step forward for our communities." And back to Margaret.
And that brings us to the end of part 3. Back to part 4, and we'll start with the answers to the quiz. Question 1. In which month is St Andrew's Day celebrated? And the answer is C, November. Question 2. Mouth organ is another name for which an instrument? And the answer is A, harmonica. Question 3. What type of bird is a parakeet? And the answer is B, parrot. The next question. The red planet is an informal name for which celestial body? And the answer is A, Mars. Question 5. Who was Europe's winning captain in golf's 2014 Ryder Cup? And the answer is C, Paul McGinley. And the last question was, how many pairs of legs does a spider have? And the answer is A, 4. And I hope you all got that. On to general news. New banking hub for Bathgate. Cash Access UK have had their plans approved for a new banking hub in Bathgate to serve the local community. The modular banking hub is to be located within the existing Morrison's supermarket car park. This hub will eventually replace the temporary banking hub that is currently located at Bathgate's Jim Walker's Partnership Centre. The Morrison's car park is accessed via Linkston Way with pedestrian links provided throughout the car park to the adjacent perimeter footpaths leading to the key areas for easy access. The application states, the banking hub will be used as a cash and basic banking facility, providing cash transactions via the counter service and basic banking support through a rotation of community bankers from Cash Access UK member banks. This will be incredibly beneficial for all members of the community, including local businesses who have all been affected by recent branch closures and lack of access to cash and banking services in the town. The application also states that the scheme seeks to revitalise the existing Morrison's car park by offering more choice to customers and generating new employment opportunities through the provision of banking hub. Cash Access UK, in conjunction with William Morrison Supermarkets, hope that the advantages of this proposal as well as the overall benefits to the local community will be supported. Run by Cash Access UK, a not-for-profit company funded by major high street banks, the hub aims to provide cash and basic banking services in communities across the UK. Customers of all major banks can visit any weekday between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. to carry out regular cash transactions, including cash withdrawals and deposits, as well as checking balances or paying bills. Staff from different banks are in each day for customers who wish to speak to someone from their own bank. And over to Jessica.
Families get summer cash boost. West Lothian Council will give families more than £1.5 million in support over the summer holidays. The money is part of the Free School Meals programme, which ensures youngsters do not lose out during the 6-week summer holidays, which start at the end of this month. Beverly Akinlame, CLD Youth Services Manager, revealed the spend in addition to the £400,000 summer holiday programme for the county this summer. The Council Education PDSP heard that activities will be delivered by council staff in partnership with regulated childcare providers, third sector organisations and community groups, with a wide variety of programmes set to be available across West Lothian. The 2025 summer programme will provide holiday clubs over the 6-week school holidays. Officers will coordinate the delivery of summer holiday provision for young people in partnership with regulated childcare providers, third sector organisations and community groups to design and deliver activity programmes and services to support targeted groups and wider provision for young people. The Council will also invest £1.5 million towards free school meal payments during school holidays. As per previous years, this will come in the form of direct payments to families of pupils entitled to receive free school meals. Family vouchers enabling free access to activities will be distributed by West Lothian Council Anti-Poverty Service, linking in with the West Lothian Food Network. Miss Akinlame told the councillors the provision of summer holiday activities to support targeted groups and wider provision for young people in West Lothian will complement direct payments to be made to families of children and young people entitled to free school meals and embed support for the most targeted groups and young people within their community. And over to Marcy.
Straps on bins could stop litter by Stuart Somerville. West Lothian could introduce straps for wheelie bin lids in a bid to control the scourge of wind-blown litter in communities and the countryside. Litter has been much more visible after a winter of violent storms, including Owen in January, upending bins across towns and villages. It prompted groups, including West Lothian litter pickers, to advocate the use of bin straps as a simple, low-cost way to help cut the amount of household rubbish clogging streets and hedges. A meeting of the full council this week backed the motion from Linlithgow SNP councillor Pauline Orr, to look at the feasibility of securing bins. Councillor Orr raised the motion in response to concerns from the litter pickers who give up their own time to help keep local streets, parks and countryside clean and safe. The group highlighted how unsecured bins, particularly blue and green bins filled with lightweight waste, are contributing to litter being blown across communities and into the natural environment. A spokesperson for the West Lothian litter pickers said the group was delighted at the decision and had provided prototypes to the council. Labour's Tom Conn, who chairs the Environment and Sustainability PDSP, had initially proposed an amendment which pointed out the potential costs if the council were to supply bin straps to all householders. The amendment highlighted recycling and waste services collect 157,164 blue and green bins for paper and card and plastics. A typical bin strap may vary in cost from between £4.95 to £7.99. If introducing bin clips straps, the council would need to offer them to all residents. Based on these numbers, this would incur a capital cost of between £720,000 to £1.256 million, for which there is no budget provision. Councillor Orr said it would be for households to buy them rather than have free of charge, but added the council could make them available through libraries and other council buildings for householders to buy. She also suggested that a standardised model could make use easier for the bin crews. Her motion stressed that crews would not be required to refasten straps. It also called for the council to work with partners such as the litter pickers to agree a suitable strap type and consider options for residents to purchase and for council to supply straps for resale to residents. Labour supported further investigation into bin straps as a way of controlling windblown litter. Councillor Orr said, "I'm delighted that my motion on tackling litter through the use of bin straps was agreed at full council. This is a practical measure that could make a real difference, and I was proud to bring this forward on behalf of the litter pickers who do outstanding voluntary work across our communities. I look forward to the report coming to the Environment PDSP in September and hope it will lead to action that protects our neighbourhoods, countryside, wildlife and livestock." A spokesperson for the litter pickers told the local Democracy Reporting Service, "West Lothian litter pickers are delighted that the recent motion regarding bin clips has been passed. Thanks to Councillor Pauline Orr taking this forward. WLLP has been campaigning for a while now to get WLC to agree to a trial of bin clips funded by WLLP members. During high winds and weather warnings, a significant amount of litter is blown around the country due to the poor design of the bins. The bins hold lightweight recyclable materials which are not fit for purpose in strong winds. WLC and the public are responsible for looking after and protecting the environment. WLLP is a huge community group of 4,000 members. We have a fantastic partnership with WLC, but due to budget and service cuts, it is predominantly WLLP members who go out litter picking after high winds. Other councils use bin clips." And over to Peter.
Refurb of homes are down 25%, an article by Stuart Somerville. West Lothian has its lowest number of empty council homes for 2 years thanks to a team set up in the autumn to tackle a backlog from the COVID lockdown. The backlog of houses needing refurbishment, known as voids, is down by a quarter. Councillors heard this week that the bulk of homes vacated come back needing thousands of pounds spent on them, with costs sometimes difficult to recoup except through debt recovery agencies. Of three categories, almost 50% of homes returned to the council are in C class, the worst, with an average of £10,000 worth of work needed to make them habitable again. Grant Taylor, Building Services Manager, told councillors on the Housing Services Policy Development and Scrutiny panel, "The formation of a central team to deal with empty homes in all wards had made a big difference in helping to reduce the amount of time homes are out of use. In the last year, 1,348 properties were let across the county. 1,537 refurbishments were completed by building services and 1,346 new void properties were retired to the council. On average, 30 properties a week are being refurbished by building services, and in March this year there were 100 fewer empty homes than in April last year. The creation of one team to deal with all void homes has improved engagements with contractors and made it simpler to deal with one utility supplier rather than dealing with the issue on a ward-by-ward basis. The team was created in response to a backlog in repairs and a growing number of homes lying empty for long periods, sometimes for half the year. The backlog began to increase during the COVID pandemic, with councillors in all wards seeing their inboxes stuffed with complaints about the number of empty homes at a time when demand for council housing was surging. Mr Taylor said the turnaround had been achieved at a time when the number of houses in the worst condition had been climbing. This increased the amount of time spent on bringing the homes back up to standard. Housing officers cite societal changes and problems such as addiction and hoarding among some of the issues they face in dealing with some tenants. In 2021 there were 170 C-class void homes, 27% of all voids across all 9 council wards. By last year that number had climbed to 358, or 46% of all voids. Last year the Bathgate ward alone had 138 void homes, 82 C-class and 56 B-class, which need around £4,500 spent to bring up to standard. There were none in A-class, which need only around £1,500 spent to return to let. Mr Taylor presented photographs to a meeting of the committee in December, which showed befouled bathrooms, damaged filthy kitchens and living rooms piled high with rubbish. He said there had been some improvements, but he added, "We are still seeing a similar amount of work that needs to be done to bring the homes up to habitable standards. There's the repairs cost, but a rental loss too, so when you add the two together, it's obviously well over the repair costs." Chairing the meeting, Councillor George Paul said, "These tenants that leave properties in these conditions, how does the recharge process affect them? How do we recoup the costs?" Mr Taylor said that rechargeable items were identified at the void point, and those costs added to a service account managed by the Council's finance team. The process of recovery of costs then goes to a third party. Councillor David Russell asked, "Is there any consequence for people who leave properties in this condition? For example, if they don't engage, would they be excluded from getting a tenancy until they did?" Alison Smith, Housing Management and Community Safety Officer, said the Council had a responsibility to rehouse people that come forward. Back to Margaret.
Future of centres is uncertain. An article by Stuart Somerville. The future of community centres in West Lothian has become mired in confusion, and the Council needs to rebuild public confidence, it has been claimed. West Lothian Council began a review a year ago in a bid to save £1 million. Community centre management committees were encouraged to buy the buildings and manage them or take out leases with the Council. Only just over half of that saving has been identified as the plan has developed. Last month, the Council introduced a new option, where it would take control of the bulk of community centres. Many centres feared this would mean an increase in costs for user groups, leading to a drop-off in use and potential closures. The recent announcements that the Council could end up managing the bulk of centres has further muddled the picture, the Joint Forum of Community Councils said. The Forum has now submitted a Freedom of Information request for details of the financial savings, adding, "The financial aspects of the review remain baffling." In a statement, the Forum added, "It's unfortunate the Council began this process with predetermined solutions rather than an open mind and a blank slate." The Forum has called for a new discussion with the Council to look at the positives thrown up by the review process. In its statement, the Forum said, "It appears the alternative solution that centres were encouraged to submit have been dismissed for not meeting the required savings." Unfortunately, no further collective discussion or exploration of these proposals was encouraged or held. It added, "We've heard inspiring stories from management committees who, catalysed by the review, held public meetings and attracted more volunteers for the centres. They've revitalised centre activities, encouraged new user groups and actively engaged with their communities, generating a wealth of ideas for new initiatives and forging valuable contacts. Many have responded to suggestions for modernisation, exploring investment plans from their reserves, and even considering updating their constitutions to move from unincorporated to incorporated charity status. They've also championed the need for a modern online booking system or a local community wealth building, repair and maintenance system, whether local or West Lothian wide. Unfortunately, these promising initiatives are now in limbo, awaiting clear direction from the local authority. We believe a roundtable event would help everyone move forward and facilitate the implementations of these changes. The Forum said the introduction of the Council takeover option, along with the inclusion in January of school community wings into the review, had added to the public confusion of what was trying to be achieved. Speaking to councillors at the Executive in early May, Julie Whitelaw, the Head of Housing, Customer and Building Services, stressed that the council management option had been shared with all management committees, along with the implications we would require to look at reduction in operating models, looking at sustainable models. She reiterated that the process was designed to keep community centres open and running. The forum commented, to date, there hasn't been a West Lothian Wild consultation round table with the Centre's management committees that allowed for an open agenda without preconditions. We consider this a necessary step that must be taken. We ask that this suggestion be given full consideration. Community centre management committees that have already decided to acquire or rent their centres have chosen their path and would naturally be excused from any future all-centre consultations. And there's a photo of Mosswood Community Centre, Education Centre, their signpost, just lying against the building. And over to Jessica.
Easter holiday school dates being changed. Easter holiday dates for West Lothian schools are being changed after concerns were raised about the SQA exam dates. West Lothian Council has revised its term dates for the new school year in 2026-27. The changes will see the Easter holiday moved forward and will also take account of the council election in early May 2027. In a report to the Education PDSP, Hannah Haywood, Customer Services Manager, said Easter is early in 2027. She added, proposed dates for session 2026-27 were presented to Education PDSP on the 1st of April. Consultation on the proposed dates was still underway at that time. 4 responses were received, 2 expressing satisfaction with the proposed dates and 2 requesting that the Easter break should be later. Since the meeting on April the 1st, new information about the SQA timescales has been provided, and it is now clear that the previously proposed timing of the Easter break would potentially negatively impact on students meeting submission deadlines for SQA awards. She added, Easter is early in 2027, and the original proposal was for the schools to break up on Friday the 19th of March and resume on Monday the 5th of April, with the Easter weekend in the middle. A new proposal is now being presented, which moves the Easter break to make it 1 week later, starting on Good Friday the 26th of March and resuming on Monday the 12th of April. As the Easter break is now 2 weeks and 1 day long rather than 2 weeks, the new proposal removes the Friday from the September weekend to make sure that we provide the required 190 teaching days in the session. As ever, the West Lothian holidays are unlikely to tie with neighbouring councils, many of which have yet to be confirmed. Chairing the PDSP, Councillor Andrew Maguire said he and fellow councillors were unlikely to forget to move an in-service day to the first Thursday in May, as this marks the end of their current council term. The in-service day in May 2026 has also been moved from Tuesday, May the 5th to Thursday, May the 7th, to coincide with the Scottish parliamentary election. And over to Marcy.
MP praises work of company. MP Kirsty Sullivan has praised the role of local innovation in delivering national environmental goals following a visit to Tomra, TOMRA's UK hub in Bathgate. Tomra, a global leader in reverse vending technology, hosted the Bathgate and Linlithgow MP at their Scottish Storage and Distribution Centre, where she was welcomed by John Lee, Tomra's Vice President for Public Affairs UK and Ireland. The visit provided an in-depth look at Tomra's multi-million-pound investment in the UK, including live demonstrations of reverse vending machines, RVMs, built for retailers of all sizes. Founded in Norway in 1972, Tomra operates over 105,000 RVMs across more than 60 markets, collecting over 46 billion average beverage containers each year. Their proven systems across Europe consistently achieve recycling return rates of 92 to 98%, offering a powerful solution to resource recovery and waste reduction. Kirstine said, "It's incredibly inspiring to see a global sustainability leader like Tomra investing right here in Bathgate. The scale of their impact and ambition is matched by the strategic role this facility plays in the UK's journey towards net zero. Deposit return schemes are one of the most practical and effective tools we have to move towards a circular economy, helping individuals, businesses and governments to treat waste as a resource." And over to Peter.
Livingston FC latest Premier players. Davy wants top flight experience across side as 4 sign up. An article by Paul Thompson. Livingston boss David Martindale admits getting a nucleus of players with Premiership experience will be key after he added 4 more fresh faces to his squad over the past week. After landing midfielder Graham Carey from St Johnstone and Conor McLennan from Ayr United earlier this month, Martindale snapped up striker Zach Rudden from Queen's Park, as well as defender Shane Blaney from Motherwell and Cammy Kerr also from Queen's Park. The Lions boss also welcomed back striker Stevie May after he penned a permanent deal following a loan spell last season from St Johnstone. All 6 of the new signings have played in the top flight, and Martindale says that is a vital factor in his signing policy this summer as the Lions prepare to make their Premiership return. He said it is these types of boys we are interested in. It is okay going out and getting players that have maybe not played in the Premiership, but I think it can make a difference bringing in people who have that top flight experience under their belt. All our signings offer that, even Conor McLennan and Graham Carey, so I am really happy about that. Stevie came in last season and did really well for us. He showed an appetite to be at the club this season, so we tried to make it happen and we were able to do that. I'm really happy we've got him back in the building because we know what he can do for us. Zach has played Premiership football and scored goals at most levels. He is at a good age and I think there is a wee bit more to come from Zach. He has always been someone who has done well against us and he will provide goals for the team, but I also think he will be a beneficial squad player for us going back into the Premiership. We need a really strong group and Zach is a number 9 who knows the way to goal. With Cammy, I tried to get a couple of years ago, but he signed for Dundee again in his testimonial year, so we missed out on him. He played in the Championship last season with Queen's Park, albeit he had some injuries to deal with, but he comes in with a lot of Premiership football under his belt. I looked at his data previously and really liked him, so I think he is someone who will really add to the squad. Shane is still at a good age, and when he became available from Motherwell, we were delighted to get him. Martindale insists he won't stop there and has also told a number of his squad their time is up in West Lothian. He added, we have lost 7 out of the building so far, and I think we need to lose another 4. I have had conversations with 3 or 4 players this week and told them they won't be getting any game time with us this season, so it is best to look elsewhere. We need another 4 minimum coming in, but we are just waiting on the right profile of player to become available. It's a busy period. Meanwhile, Livy fans eagerly await the release of the Premiership fixtures tomorrow Friday, which sees them away to Kilmarnock in the first game, and Martindale says he doesn't expect to get a home clash to mark their top flight return. He said, we will probably not be at home for the first game, and in that regard he was right. We will be away, no doubt. The first 5 or 6 games historically have always been against 5 or 6 of the top 6 from the previous season, so we expect it to be a tough run. But every game in the Premiership is difficult, and the first batch of 11 games will be really tough. Beside the article, there is a picture of David Martindale and his 4 recent signings. Back to Margaret.
And that brings us to the end of part 4. We've now come to the end of this week's recording and we hope you've enjoyed it. When you've finished listening to the recording, can I remind you to place the USB stick back in the wallet, reverse the label so the right-hand corner is at the top right-hand side, and post it back to us as soon as possible. So it's goodbye from the members of our Team 6, Engineer Gordon, readers Margaret, Jessica, Marcia and Peter. Until our next recording. Goodbye.